Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time visiting, thank you. If you are a subscriber, a new subscriber, or you are coming from a video that you have just watched on my channel, welcome back. So in today's video, we will be completing our machine embroidery in the hoop wallet project. This will be, besides the first video that we talked about the supplies that you needed, this will be the fifth or sixth video. I'm not quite sure how many yet. I think maybe the fifth, possibly the sixth. Okay, so like I said, the first video we talked about your supplies. That was video 1. Video 2 was stitching out this portion right here, these half circle portions. That would have been file 1. File 2, video 3, will be stitching out the main body of the wallet, which is this portion, and then attaching the half circles. And then, so that was 3. File 4, I'm sorry, video 4, file 3, will be stitching out your zipper pocket. And we've got that here. And then our previous video to this one was video 5, file 4, stitching out our card slot pockets. And I did mention in that video that if you wanted to, you could make 2 more pockets and stitch them together to create another more card slots. Or you could, instead of just your back piece, you could add 2 pieces like you did for the front to the back to make one additional pockets. So that's a way that you could maybe alter it if you wish. I did explain in the directions for file 4 that there is a file 5 if you want to make 2 zipper pockets and 1 card slot pocket. You would do that video or that file. Okay, so now what we're going to do today is we are going to be assembling the wallet, and this is going to be done by hand. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to that, and to put together the pieces of the wallet, it says for your convenience on the side panel pieces, which are these here, there are some fold lines, and that's what the single, I'm going to show you on here a little bit better. You can see I did the darker thread so you can kind of see that. So the one line is going to be your fold line, and then the section where there are the 3 is going to be where you're going to fold it and put the portion of the pocket in there, and you're going to hand stitch on that line. Okay, so she tells you that you're going to fold the piece along the outer fold lines, and I'm going to go ahead and show that to you on here. And I think to make it easier is to start from this side and work your way in. So you're going to fold on that first line. So fold and crease it. Do the same to the other side. And make sure you're creased nice on that line. And then you've got your next fold line in between those 2. So fold on that one as well. And crease as well. And what I would recommend doing is wherever you're going to put your pocket, whether you're going to do it up front or to the back, start sewing back here first. She has you, it looks like in the directions that when you're folding, she has you doing it looks like she has you doing the middle section first, so where your would be like that. But I'm thinking for ease of sewing to start back here first, and that way you don't have bulkiness in the middle. If that makes sense, I'll show you as we go along. So then what you're going to do is you're going to make a hand stitch above the machine one. She says, I recommend using a durable double thread. Hide the knots between the pieces. Make 6 to 7 stitches passing through the top edge. Then sew some of the stitches down the side so that the hand stitches match with the machine stitch lines. Inserting the needle into the same puncture and then go back up. Ensure that the partition fits tightly to the fold. So I think what I want to do, excuse me just a moment. Okay, sorry about that. I got like a itch in my throat and I was choking a little bit there. Okay, so to continue, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put the zipper pocket at the very front. That way when the wallet's open, that's going to be at the front, and then the cards are going to be towards the back to add just a little bit more security to the cards in the wallet. So I am go ahead and fold on those lines and make sure, if you're not able to get, so the first fold's easy on that line. I'm actually going to adjust the camera so you guys can see this a little bit closer. I will be right back. Okay, so now we can see this a little bit better. So I was telling you on this portion where you see the one line, that is your fold line. And then where you see the 3 lines is where you're going to do your sewing. So you're going to fold on your solid line first. So you can kind of hold here with a pair of tweezers so you can get that fold tucked in there nice. And you're going to fold on that line. And I just kind of creased it really well. And if you have been following along with this video series, you will know that I used a tearaway paper stabilizer for sewing these, and you can see how they're holding their fold marks. And that is why I did that, because it's going to be easier to keep that fold. And I mean, it was just easier for me. Okay, so we got that first one folded. Then you can see that it's going to come, this next part is going to come right in onto that line. So this middle one is your next fold line. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of, my bobbin just fell on the floor. I'm going to kind of pinch right there on that mark. Can you see that? I'm making this a little bit harder than what it needs to be, but just to ensure that I get a nice fold and there's not going to be a lot of bulk in those areas, hopefully. I'm just doing it this way. So I'm going to kind of like pinch with my tweezers right there. And those probably aren't the best tweezers to use. Let's use some more that are a little more stable. And to fold on that line. And I'm going to fold that. And then I'm going to make sure I kind of crease it. And then fold that other line. And make sure that when I'm folding that, see how it folds right there? So that's where we're going to stitch. So we're going to place our portion in this little slot, and we're going to stitch along this line. So like I said, I'm going to do the card slots So we want to make sure that we are on both sides. And I want to make sure that that fold is going to be nice and crisp right there. So I'm making sure I fold that on both sides, and then this one as well on that one. So I make sure I get that folded just right. Okay. So there we go, and I'm going to just kind of make sure I press that down. And again, I'm probably making this a lot harder than what it needs to be, but I just want to make sure that I get that fold good and this fold good, so that when I am doing the hand sewing, it's going to look nice where the folds are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select my needle, and I'm just using craft needles, and there's a whole bunch of different types in this little pack I have here, and I can't find my little slot, my opening slot. Where is it? There we go. I want to use a longer needle, but make sure that it's got a really nice sharp point on it. Can you see how that's got a really nice sharp point? That way it's going to help me get through those layers a little bit better. That's my theory anyway. Okay, so what I'm doing, instead of having my big spool of thread, because I used the cone thread, I'm just using the bobbin that I had in the machine for my thread. And like it says in her directions, use a double layer or a double strand. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you need to use a needle threader, go ahead and use a needle threader. And you may see how horrible my nails look on this. I can't get the thread into the needle. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use my double strand of thread and make sure I get enough. Turn that off. And I am going to actually do this without my glasses on because I can see a little bit better. So I'm going to take those off and set them aside. Actually, I may put I have a pair of sewing glasses that have some really strong bifocals on them, so I'll be able to see this a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to just do a knot here at the end of my thread. And like I said before, I'm going to start from the back. So you'll have the first one here, like so. Then we're going to have our second pocket in the next one. And that'll be like that. And then the zipper's going to be at the very last one. And you can see that that does kind of like have some bulk. So I'm going to make sure I start in the back for the sewing. And I'm going to line that right up to the top right there. So at the top, I'm going to, sorry, I just kind of hit my face on the camera tripod. Okay, so right there, and I'm going to fold over. And you can see how that's kind of in. See how that's kind of indented in? I want to make sure that I have it kind of nice and right even with that. See how that's nice and even? Okay, So I'm first going to put my needle in from the inside. So I'm going to brighten the needle on the inside because she said to conceal the knots to the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And make sure you have your pockets facing upright. That would be kind of sad if you get it all on there and you realize you have sewn your pocket in the wrong direction. And this first one's going to be a little bit fiddly, trying to get it in there just right. Okay, now in her instructions she says place your needle, I'm sorry, I'm out of frame. Place your needle in the stitches that are already here, so it's going to be easier to put your needle through those for less bulk. And my needle got stuck on my tweezers. Okay, so now I'm going to, it's a little fumbly, so I'm going to thread back through. And it is a little rough to get through that first part. And again, I know, I'm sorry, I am off camera there. Get that in there just right. And I'm going to have to darn it. That's funny how much I'm fumbling with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hold that tightly. I'm going to try to get this started off camera so I'm not as fumbly. So give me just a second. Okay, so if you can see there, what I did is when I first put the thread in the fabric, I went in through the back piece, and that would be this part, and then I got the layers together, and she says to bring the needle over the top to lock it. So I have it over the top and I'm going in through that front portion. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that through, and hopefully my thread is not all puckered here, or not puckered, but okay. So you can I don't know if you can see that first stitch across the top right there. And you're going to do 2 or 3. She actually says make 6 to 7 passes through the top edge, then sew your stitches down the length of it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I am placing my needle. So if you see your satin stitch, I'm placing it right there in line with those stitches, right under the edge of the satin stitch, and I'm just pushing it through. And I know it's hard to do hand stitching on camera, and I'm trying to get that stitch kind of relatively right next to the other one, just so it has a nice finished look. You can see the one stitch there. You can see the 2 different stitches. So I'm going to try to make sure all my next stitches are right between those 2, just so they lay neatly. And if you need to use a thimble, go ahead and use a thimble. And you can see I've got the needle brought up right along that line. So I'm just going to loop my finger through there just so it is kind of hard to get that needle pulled through there. And I'm trying to make sure that and you're going to do that 6 or 7 times. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we are going to sew all the way down that seam until you get to the end, and you're going to knot off. So I will do that off camera, and when I get that complete, I will be right back. Okay, so I have that where we did the 6 or 7 stitches here across the top, and you could see where I am placing my needle right in those stitch holes along this line, and you're going to do that all the way down the end to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all that, and you want to make sure that you get that that lined up in there just right so you can get so it's nice and tight. See how I'm straight on the line and down here at the end? And you will have a little part of the pocket sticking down here, which is okay. So you just want to make sure that that's all nice and fitted in there, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have it sewn from the top all the way down to the end, and you can see that there. And you can see where kind of the stitches are a little bit thicker, where they're the double stitch, where there's 2 stitches in one place. What I'm going to do to make mine a little bit stronger, she does not say so in the directions, but I just want to make it look a little bit, to be a little bit stronger. So you can see where I came back up on this side, and you can see that this stitch right there, that one right there is just 1 stitch. This one's 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So the ones that have 1, I'm going to go back up this side and place it right where that hole is right there, and come back on the other side. And I'm sorry I'm off camera for this, but I'm coming back up to the other side, and then I'm going to stitch all the way back up to the top. So that way each one's going to have 2 stitches in it, if that makes sense. So I'll go in this one now, across to the back. Whoops. And still make sure that piece is nice and firm in there. So right there. Across to the other side. So this side now has 1 stitch. And I'm going to now place right back in there. So it'll look even on both sides of the wallet, that each side will have stitches that look the same on both sides. That's just so I can get some better strength in this seam, and just to make it look like it's got nice uniform stitching on both sides of it. And I'm coming back up this side, and this is the single stitch, double stitch. I hope I'm not confusing anybody on that. I just want to make sure that it's nice and strong, because if you're going to be using it a lot, you don't want to pop any of the stitches with use. And right back through. Needs it coming back through. And in this you can, in one of the videos I was telling you that this lavender thread I'm using, you can see now that it kind of has a really kind of like a silvery purple color to it. It's really a pretty thread. It's actually a spool, a large cone of thread from, I believe this one is a new Bro thread. It's in, if you go back a few videos, you'll see that I got a cone thread haul. I think it was a 24 cones to the box, and I got it on, it was on sale. I bought it around just a little bit before Christmas, and I got it for $70, I think I paid for it. And each cone has 5,500 yards on it. And so for 24 spools of thread, it was a really good deal. Okay. So I'm almost back up to the top. And I apologize if this is taking a while. And I'm sorry I keep getting out of frame. I want to make sure I get my thread line nice and even. I want to make sure that this line kind of stays as straight as I can, so everything looks really nice and neat. Okay, so I think this one is right at the top, so it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my stitch right there, right at the edge of that satin stitch, and I'm going to knot off. I'll show you how I'm going to knot this off and see. Hopefully it will work. Okay, so I brought it up. It's right through. And what I'm going to try to do is, let's see if I can. So I'm going to just try to stick it through one. That ain't going to work. I'm not sure how to knot this off. I guess just go ahead and knot it. And then when I do that, I'm going to try to stick it back down through so it hides the. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to go like we did across the top. So when it was across the top, I'm going to sew right across the top, but I'm not going to pull my stitch all the way tight, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Stick it right back through there. Okay, so I have my loop. I'm going to just pull it through. Okay, so I'm going to hang on to this end like so. And I am going to knot my thread. And my knot's going to be right there at the top. And I'm going to double knot that. And I broke my thread, but that's okay. That's still knotted. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to thread it and pull it down through here so it hides my thread. And I'm going to just use a larger-eyed needle for that, and I'll show you. I'm trying to find where this little pack opens back up. It's right down here at the bottom. But I'm going to try to find a larger-eyed needle, and I don't know if this pack has it. Maybe this one. And I will be right back. Okay, so I grabbed my other packs of needles. I'm going to shut these shades really quickly. It is getting dark. I found my other packs of needles, and I'm going to find one that has a nice big eye on it so I can thread that needle just a little bit better. There's one. Come out. Okay, so this one has a bigger eye in it. Hopefully you can see that. And what I'm going to do is I have a, let's see if I can find, I have a needle threader. So that way I'm going to thread this double portion, and I'm going to bring it back down through there so it hides that thread tail. Okay, see how I have it threaded? And I'm going to just take this back down inside this portion, and it might be a little hard to stick it down in there, but just wherever you can get it. You don't need to stick it really far. And I'm going to come out the back, so it'll be concealed on this portion. So I'm going to come out, let me get it in there, and I'm going to bring the needle, let's say maybe just 1/2 inch down, and I'm going to come up right along that seam with this needle. See how I'm bringing it right through like that, and I'm pulling this thread tail down through there, and see how that gave it a nice finished look on this side. So all I have to do, where'd my needle go? I don't know where it went. Uh-oh, I might have dropped my needle on my floor. But anyway, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to just cut off this thread tail. And that just gives that a nice finished look. See what I mean? It just gave it a nice, so when that's folded, see how nice that looks? There's not a lot of thread right there, so it looks really nice. Okay, so I am going to try to find that needle, and I'll be right back. Okay, I was in a little bit of a panic there because I flipped that needle away, and I get really nervous because of Luna, and as inquisitive as she is, I did not want to have a needle on my floor where she might try to eat it or anything like that. So I got really scared because I could not find that needle anywhere. I was actually down on my hands and knees on the carpet looking for it. And the funny thing is it flipped right up here and went inside it was just sitting inside that roll of tape. Ugh. But I could have swore I looked there and didn't see it. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and sew the other side. And we just want to do the same exact thing for that side. Or what you can do is go ahead and continue to your next pocket and go ahead and sew in the next one if you want to do it that way. Or you can just go ahead and do this side and then just keep going. Whichever way is going to be easiest for you, go ahead and do that. So this pocket will be here. And then you'll have your next one in that next fold. And that one will be in there. And then I'm going to do my zipper in the zipper pouch in the last one. And when I get that all finished, I will come back and we will work on the final part of the wallet. So we'll see you soon. Okay, so I thought I'd go ahead and pop back on and show you the first pocket sewn in, and that is what that looks like. And I buried my stitches like I showed you on this first side, and I forgot to mention to put either some fray away or something like that at the top. I again used the Fabric Fusion glue just so there would be no threads fraying at the top of the pockets, and I did that for all the way around the edges. I did it on the bottom so it has a nice finished look as well. I'm going to go ahead and sew in the next pocket, and I'll again come back when that one's done so you can see what each one will look like. We'll see you again soon. Okay, so I have the second card portion sewn into the wallet, and you can see that there. And now we just have the zipper portion, and depending on, I'm thinking I'm going to put the zipper on the left side, so when you open you'd be pulling the zipper this way, and we're going to put that right there. So I'm going to start that, and when I finish I will be right back. Okay, so I have all of the portions sewn inside the wallet. You can see the first card slot, the second card slot. These two were pretty easy to do, but when I got to the zipper pouch, my fingers started getting really sore. I have a little thread here I'm going to just clip. My fingers were sore because the seams, I guess, on this portion here were really thick, and I had a hard time getting my needle through it. So I ended up using some a Leatherman, or if you have a pair of needle nose pliers, so you can grab the needle and pull it through. And that really helped a lot. You can see my hand sewn seams here on the side, and I went down one side, and then when I got to the end I reinforced the stitches, about 3 or 4 different stitches down here at the bottom, and then flipped it over and came back up the other side. So I had, it's basically a double seam. So I did that for each one, and you can see those there. So that one, and that one, and that one. And these are just where they fold. And then same for the other side. And you can see that. And I hid all my knots. I stuck my needle down in through where the seam was there, and I pulled it down inside. I brought the needle through there and brought it up through the seam on the inside, and then pulled it through and trimmed the thread tails. So that is finished. And now what you want to do is we are going to do our snap. Once we do our snap, your wallet is finished. If you do want to press it a little bit, I would recommend, well, yeah, I mean, you could press it if you wanted to. I'm just going to lay it flat and maybe put a book on top of it for a little bit, because I'm not sure how I would really get an iron in deep enough to get everything pressed. But I think maybe if it sits a little bit, it'd be okay. So that's what it looks like on the, when it's folded. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the snap, and your snaps, if you're using metal snaps like I am, will come with the instructions. And my set, I've talked about that it didn't come with the tools, so I had to buy an additional set that has the tools in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the tools out. And I am just going to go ahead and use one of these snap sets that's in this particular box. But I'm going to be using these directions because they're just a little bit bigger than what the small ones in there are. Okay. So you're going to want to, she says, put whatever you're going to put inside of the wallet so you know where to place your snap, how loose you need the, if you're going to be putting a lot in it, you would want to make it a little bit looser. I'm going to just kind of guess. I'm going to, I think I want to go ahead and just line it up with these little arcs right here. So what I'm going to do is I want my top snap here, so it'll look like that right there, right in that little kind of arc of the flower. You can see that right there. So I'm going to put it right, whoops, right about there. And she says to mark where you're going to put your snap, and we're going to do our top one first. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the punch, and you're going to put it down. And I've got this adorable little hammer, and I'm just going to and make sure I am using my cutting mat on here, and it's not going through all the layers. So I think what I'm going to do is, I have a piece of wood, so I'm going to put the wood down, and I'm going to try again. Okay, I think I got through that time. And basically there's a hole through there. You can see where I made the hole. So I'm going to put my snap through there, and you can see that it came through. Now what I want to do before I do my snap, I am going to put a dot of my Fabric Fusion right on that, on both sides. So that way there's no chance of any unraveling over time, and it's just going to give it a little bit of stability. Okay, so what I want to do, I'm trying to get my snap pieces here, and trying to make sure I know which ones are gonna, how it's gonna snap together here. Okay, so we're going to use these two portions first. So I'm going to put, oops, I probably didn't show that to you very well. I'm really sorry. You're going to use your top snap and this portion. I hope you guys can see that okay. That's what they look like on the opposite side. I will leave a link to where I purchased these snaps on Amazon. And I'm just doing a little drop of glue. You can see just that little bit on there. I did a little more on the other side, which is okay. So I'm going to put the snap in there. And I may have to pull a piece of tissue here. I may just have to clean that up just a little. Okay. I don't want too much so it makes a whole big mess, but okay. So now what you're going to do is you put your top snap through, and then when you, like so, it's going to go on just like that. And now I'm going to take this portion and I'm going to lay the flatter side up. You can see there's two different sides. And we're going to take the flat side up, and it says you're going to take the convex tool vertically on the socket. Let's see. I think it's this one right here. And you're going to put that, see where the circle pin part of the tool, and let's see, I'm going to, there's a little card here, let me look at this. Okay, so we're going to use the, let's see. I'm making sure I select the correct tool. Okay, so I think I have my tools mixed up. So I want to use this one first. That's the wider barrel. See how we have a narrow barrel, or this portion, and this one? It's showing that I'm going to use the how do I do this? If you can see that picture right there, it looks like I used the narrower one first, like that. See how this one's more narrow than this one? And this is the flat portion of the button. Okay. So we're going to use the, we're going to go ahead and use this one, and then we're just going to go for it, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so put that down. Okay, sorry about all that loud banging. So there you can see I have the snap on there. It is on there really well. That looks really good. It's on there tight, and you can see on this portion it'll tell you that it looks like a perfect punch, or if it's kind of messed up, it'll tell you which, so that looks pretty good. I think that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down, and I want to do the snap right in the middle of this arc right here. So I'm going to put my wood inside there, and I'm going to line that up so like so. I'm going to and kind of do my little twisty, and that did not go through. Maybe I just need to do a little harder. Okay, I'm going to pause while I do the pounding, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the little, you can see the little hole there, and I just kind of had to punch through with my scissors on the other side. So we're going to put the pin side to the inside, and this one fits a little bit tighter, so I'm going to just use my little scissors to kind of open it just a little bit more, because it is not wanting to go through. Okay, I think I got it through that time. Okay, so you can see I got it through there, and again I'm going to put a little drop of the glue to prevent any fraying. So I have it on the inside, and I'm trying not to let that touch the inside of the other fabric. And I have that through there. And again, I'm going to put a little glue. I'm going to take this back out a little bit, just so I can. And you can see I put the glue there and push that back up. And now I am going to take this portion and you're going to put it straight down. And let's make sure I'm doing that correctly. Yes. And you're going to put it down like so. I am going to put the, you can see that now this side has that kind of like the bump, and that's going to go to the inside portion and it's going to fit right in there. And I'm going to try and we're going to use this one now. So I'm going to put that right on there. I'm going to pause again so we don't have a lot of loud banging, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the snap-on. I'll take that piece out. You can see on the inside, this one's not the best, but it's on there really tight. I actually had to get my husband to come in and hammer it a little harder because I was nervous hitting it, and I just wasn't hitting it hard enough, but he helped me do that. So you can see that our wallet is now complete. Go ahead and snap it, and it is finished. And it snaps, well, like so. And my snaps are nice and tight. They're nice and tight, and then when I put the fabric fusion glue, it's not going to unravel on the inside. And there is our wallet project. We are complete. Okay, so anything I would do differently? I may go ahead and try vinyl again on the next one. We will see about that. Like I mentioned before, my FAF machine is very picky. And the vinyl that I have, it just did not agree with. So I may try another brand. I do have some other vinyl, and I'm going to try that and see if that helps. I'm trying to stick my snaps back together in here. They are all, let's see here, they are just all over the place in this box. So I'm just going to kind of stick them back together in here, and close enough. We'll just stick those in there, stick the tools back in here, and yeah, if you guys have any questions, please comment down below. I don't know if I would make these to sell because they are so labor intensive. The stitch out takes quite a while, and I don't know, and I don't know what you would charge for them because the stitch out was so much, and then the hand sewing took me almost an hour and 15 minutes to sew. Yeah, if you guys were to sell one of these, what would you charge for it? I don't even know how many stitches were completely in the project. I would have to look at that. Please look down below for the Etsy store where I purchased this if you would like to make one for yourselves. She has an amazing shop, so please go ahead and check that out. Like I said, this was my very first time doing an In the Hoop project, and I have some other designs that I also purchased from her shop that I'm going to make as well. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit that like button. And again, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And we will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.